Galaw-gaw, kay harot-harot tingnan, maliksi, di mapigil ang gaslaw. Galaw-gaw, ang lahat ginagalaw, napakaharot at pakialam. Galaw-gaw, kung tawagin...
Katatapos lang po ng hearing sa Kongreso noong Lunes at isinara na po ng Committee on Good Government at Committee on Energy yung kanilang pagdinig sa supply contracts ng Meralco na umaabot sa 3,551 megawatts. Atin po itong sinisikap na suriin na maigi, kaya nga lang ang Energy Regulatory Commission hindi po kami pinayagan na mag-intervene. Napakalaki po ng implication nito. Yung 3,551 megawatts, itatali tayo for the next 20 to 22 years dun po sa coal-fired power plant. At ang diferensya po ng costs, mayroon po kasi, nakita ko may San Miguel Corporation dito, mayroon po kasing offer ang San Miguel Corporation na 3 pesos per kilowatt hour of coal. Ito pong kinokontrata ng Meralco sa kanyang mga sister companies ay nagkakahalaga sa pinaka-minimum 3 pesos and 87 centavos per kilowatt hour. Ang magiging diferensya ay aabot sa bilyones at trilyones kung hindi po natin ito mapipigil o masusuri ng maigi this early. So I guess pwede po tayo mag-take off from there sa yung tungkol sa usapan sa kuryente. Pero ito pong 7 kontrata na ito ay minamadali, wina 1, 2, 3, nakikita ko po yung mga orders and rulings ng Energy Regulatory Commission, eh gusto po yata nilang ibigay ito na Christmas gift sa Meralco. Dati ho, ang sistema, pag nag-ooperate ka ng electric distribution utility, kagaya ng Meralco, mag-i-invest ka sa planta, mag-i-invest ka sa mga kawas, tapos pupunta ka sa regulator, sasabihin mo sa regulator, ito yung investment ko, ito yung kailangan ko na rate para ma-recover ko yung investment. Ito yung tinatawag noon na rate of recovery and rate of return based on the investment na ginawa nung kapitalista. So, noong panahon na yun po, totoo po siyang kapitalista. At saka, ang concept po ng return is, ito po yung binabayaran mo as for the cost of the money na ininvest niya doon sa kanyang facilities. Eh, nito pong mag-shift ang ating regulation from return on rate base to performance-based regulation na tinatawag, na iba na po yung sistema. Ang sistema po sa kasalukuyan, sa umpisa ng 4 na taon na tinatawag na regulatory period, ang utility ay pupunta sa regulator, sa ERC, at sasabihin, itong 4 na taon na ito, ang kailangan ko ay 37 billion pesos na capital expense. Ang kailangan ko ay 61 billion pesos na operating expense. Ang kailangan ko ay 79 billion pesos na return on capital. In other words, yung kita ko. So, ito total lahat yun, i-divide, yan ang ibibigay na rate in advance. So, yun ho dati na siya yung nagbabayad, tapos i-recover. Ngayon, tayo ho ang sinisingil in advance para sa equipment. Ito po ay medyo, sabi nga nila, they turned things on its head. At naibang-iba na yung sitwasyon. Ito pa po ang masakit dyan. And the numbers that I cited to you are actual numbers for the third regulatory period as far as Meralco is concerned. And that was a period from 2011 to 2015. Sa ngayon po, ang Meralco, naniningil sa atin since July 2015, the same rate that was approved in June 2010 without the benefit of review, without the benefit of audit, without the benefit of regulatory oversight. In the sense na yung unang na-approve, pinakontinue na lang. Tinawag nilang interim average rate. So, the same rate is being collected, the same rate is being charged to us. So, sa makatuwid, lahat ng kanilang kanilang investment, lahat ng kanilang kapital, siningil na sa atin in advance. So in effect, yun yung sinasabi nila, Jojo, na atin yun. Tayo ang nagbayad. Hindi pa ho yan ang pinakamasakit. Here is the unkindest cut. Pagdating po sa pagsiset ng rate ng utilities under PBR, meron silang tinatawag na return on capital. Ang return on capital, kung naalaala nyo po, ito yung inakyat sa Supreme Court nila Mang Naro Luwalhati, ang return on rate base, 12% maximum. Alam nyo po, sa ibang regulatory regimes, they can live with 8%. They can live with 9%. Because, after all, kung ang base ng computation mo is 37 billion, you can imagine how much is 8%. 12% maximum. Ang ginawa po ng ating regulator, Energy Regulatory Commission, iniba yung sistema, ginawa PBR. Anong nangyari sa PBR? The same dog, they put a different label, a different color. Ano na ang bagong color ngayon? Hindi na ho return on rate base. Ang tawag na weighted average cost of capital. WACC, actually. Under the WACC, it went up from 12% to 14.9%. So, as it is, itinaas na. Ito yung sinasabi kong unkindest cut of all. Saan ho binabase yung 14.9%? Ang 14.9% ay ibinabase doon sa tinatawag na Regulatory Asset Base, RAB. Ano yung RAB, Regulatory Asset Base? Ito yung accumulation of the assets that the utility has acquired using the money that we paid as capital expense. So, capital expense natin yon nag-accumulate. Alam niyo ho kung magkano ang regulatory asset base ng Meralco as of the last time I looked? It is 132 billion pesos. Yung 132 billion pesos na yan, a big component of that came from the 37 billion pesos that they charged to us in advance as capital expense. So, pera na natin yung kinapital, na-avoided na nila, pera na natin yung nag-accumulate ng equipment, in-increase pa yung ina-apply na rate from 12% to 14.9%. So my friends, do not be surprised if you look at the third regulatory period charges of Meralco, the single highest, biggest item is the so-called return on capital. It is 79 billion pesos. Operating expense, which is the actual money used to provide you and I the service, is 61 billion. Capital expense is 37 billion. Why did it go up to 79 billion? Because 14.9% was applied to the 132 billion asset base which you and I actually funded and which you and I built up with our actual capex. It's a kind of, medyo, I think they have deliberately made it complicated to put it beyond our ken and beyond our understanding. No? That's why we're still struggling to be able to digest and process how they do this. But definitely, if Meralco sells 36 billion kilowatt hours in a year, 1 centavo per kilowatt hour is 360 million. 10 centavos per kilowatt hour is 3.6 billion. So, at the household level, ba't ka maghahabol ng 1 centavo? It's not worth the trouble. If you look at the other end of the pipe, boy, 1 centavo is 360 million. So, if you have problems in Congress, sabihin lang ng Meralco, tapunan mo yan ng 1 centavo. They'll have more than 1 million pesos each. Make it 10 centavos per kilowatt hour, it's going to be fiesta talaga. And as I said a while ago, the 3,551 megawatts that they are trying to ram down our throats, and that is only the generation. Ang diferensya between the San Miguel offer of 3 pesos and the delivered rate average is about 3 pesos and 61 centavos. That is 61 centavos na diferensya per kilowatt hour. Ang amin hong very rough na estimate niyan is it can come up to about 418 billion pesos over the actual run of the contracts for 20 to 22 years. Ang diferensya ho between the San Miguel offer and the delivered rate offer is 57.2 million per day, 20.8 billion per year, and 418 billion over the run of the contract. Of the 7 contracts, Atimonan 1 is 100% owned by Meralco, St. Rafael is 50% owned by Meralco, Panay Energy is 14% owned by Meralco, Redondo Peninsula is 47% owned by Meralco, Global Luzon is 49% owned by Meralco. So, Meralco in this case is dealing with itself. And the contract was negotiated, it was not bidded, contrary to what the rules say. 1 minute na lang. When we intervened, because the contracts were filed in April of 2016, nung nag-intervene ho kami in March, because we found out about it only after Congressman Zarate filed a resolution to prove the contracts for being initially midnight contracts. At that time, they weren't being called sweetheart deals because we didn't know the extent of Meralco's investment in the contracts. In March, we filed our intervention. Tinapon dininay yung intervention namin ng ERC, ginawang ano na lang daw kami. Oppositor, hindi daw kami intervenor. Nuisance, in effect. But look at the filing in April 29. When Meralco filed their application in April 29, they filed the contracts after 5:30 in the afternoon. Mayroong order ang ERC as early as April 27 at sinasabi, all contracts must be filed at 5 o'clock. Otherwise, if it is filed after 5 o'clock, it has to be subjected to the so-called competitive selection process. Ano ho ang implication on? Ang implication is, the contract cannot be negotiated. It has to be put out to bid if it is a competitive selection process. So the 5 o'clock deadline is material. So ano ho ang ginawa ng ERC? 5 o'clock in the afternoon, nag-file ang Meralco ng Redondo Peninsula application at 5:30 and all the rest up to 7:20. In the House hearing, sabi ng ERC, we stayed open until 11 in the evening to accept their application. So, there is really reason to call it a midnight contract because it is just 1 hour to midnight. And eventually, we found out all the horrible things that are related to the 7 contracts. Now, dininay na ho yung intervention namin, dininay na yung aming motion for reconsideration. We have to go to the Supreme Court. Pero tingnan nyo ho, out of the 7, the 3 contracts have been held in abeyance. Anong reason? Because daw, hindi complete yung environmental clearance certificate. So, in that case, it should not have been received in the first place.
Yes.
Kung walang ECC or incomplete yung ECC. Pero ngayon, bilang yon sa hindi kami pwedeng maka-intervene. Kaya, sana po, magising natin o makalampak ang Kongreso to make a report that will be aligned to consumer interest. At ang ERC naman, bago naman ang chairman nila, sana naman medyo pumiling-kiling ng konti sa consumers. Pero malinaw po na ito ay minamadali kasi natawa nga ako sa isa nilang order. Meralco filed a motion December 11. ERC issued an order December 12. The hearing was set for December 15. This is really super efficient. This is really super efficient.
Meron man ano bang implication o epekto ng yung pong train bill na niratify po ng Kongreso sa power sector?
Hindi ko nakita pa in detail yung train mismo, but what I have read is yung coal na itatax. Actually, in the general context or general sense, sa mga neighboring countries natin, they are actually subsidizing energy and subsidizing power. Tayo po ay nasa kabilang extreme. Hindi na sana tayo nagsasubsidize, tinatax pa. At saka pangalawa, you know pa talagang tax sa power, they need to look at it very closely. Alam nyo, I was glad to read na there is a special law na tungkol sa system laws and tungkol sa VAT on system laws na tinanggal. Pero alam nyo mo ba, kung tingnan nyo yung fine print ng bill ninyo sa Meralco, na yung local tax na binabayaran ng Meralco na sinacharge sa atin, mayroon din yun VAT. So, itong ating power, hindi na subsidized, overtaxed pa, mayroon pang mga taxes itself that is being taxed. Local tax that is being taxed nationally ng VAT. So, if that is not double taxation, I don't know what double taxation is. So, I think it becomes a policy question that people from the Department of Finance and the Department of Energy should sit down and look at and examine closely para ma-rationalize yung charging natin sa electricity. But not even that. Alam niyo ho ba na under IPIRA, familiar ho kayo sa sinasabi na lifeline rate. Yung lifeline rate is any household consuming less than 100 kilowatt hours or 50 kilowatt hours, a certain threshold, meron hong declining discount. And I think 30 kilowatt hours per month, practically libre na yon. You know yung sinasabing lifeline rate na nakamandato as part of EPIRA. Ito po yung masakit doon. You and I, tayo ho yung tinatawag na subsidizing customers. So, nag-create yung gobyerno ng safety net, nag-create ng social program, hindi naman siya nagbayad, tayo ang nagbayad. Ang masakit, yung senior citizen discount na tayo ang nagsasubsidize, pati yun, sinisingil ng VAT, ng value-added tax. So, involuntary na yung pagsalumos sa subsidy, siningil ka pa ng gobyerno ng tax doon sa involuntary subsidy na yun. Pati yung senior citizen discount. Ang nagbabayad doon yan, hindi ang gobyerno, kung hindi, tayong mga so-called subsidizing customers. So, what I'm saying is, bottom line, there are certain policy questions, there are policy issues that have to be looked at very closely. And kung ito ay masosorted out, it is going to dramatically improve or reduce our power rates. Alam niyo ba na ang tax component ng ating power bill is anywhere from 14 to 17% a month. So, kung i-rationalize yun at ang sisigilin lang ay yung tama, then probably we will be in a better position. Ngayon, specific doon sa coal tax. Tama ho yung sinasabi ng mga nagko-komentaryo dyan na ang tatamaan ay tayo dahil kakagalang yun sa sinasabi na pass on cost. But other than the tax component on the coal issue, we also have bigger issues there. Kasi bakit ho tayo iko-kontrata ng Meralco for 3,551 megawatts, all coal, lahat coal, for 20 to 22 years. Alam niyo ho, in other countries, in India, I think, 24/7 solar is already competitive at rates that are even lower than 3 pesos per kilowatt hour. So, yung sinasabi nila dati na solar is unreliable, intermittent, hindi pwedeng base load, technology is improving so much that it can already be possible. But even so, if we are tied in for 20 to 22 years, what if after 5 years, the technology dramatically improves? How do we get out of that? Nakatali na tayo, naka-take or pay na tayo for 20 to 22 years. Ironically and tragically, even in the House hearing, I pointed out a Philippine Independent Power Producers Association, PIPA, position paper that said, as far as greenfield coal is concerned, the ideal duration or term of a contract should be 10 to 15 years. And yet, ang application ng Meralco, 20 to 22 years, walang kakibo-kibo yung Energy Regulatory Commission as if they're not aware of the BIPA position that is 10 to 15 years. That's greenfield plant. Ibig sabihin bago. Moreover, itong requirement requirement nila na 3,551 megawatts, hindi naman yan nanggagaling from ground zero. Dati na yan eh. Kaya lang mag-i-expire yung kontrata ng existing suppliers. In other words, kung mayroon dyan planta na pwede pa mag-operate for the next 5 years, why is Meralco not going into that plant? Why is it that they have to go into the contract with a subsidiary, a 100% owned subsidiary, for long term? Two things po yan. If you go to an existing plant, wala nang capital recovery fee. Kasi theoretically, lahat ng ininvest sa planta na yan, na-recover na during the original contract. So wala ka ng capital recovery fee, if at all minimal. Gagastusin mo na lang fuel, operation, and maintenance. And then, more important, if during the 5 years, renewable solar and wind and other renewables kick in with dramatic improvements in technology that make it not intermittent but reliable as base load, you are not tied up to a long-term contract. Mura na, mayroon ka pang flexibility, mas open ka pa. But I can understand why Meralco insists on the 7 contracts. They own those plants and they stand to make 2.4 trillion pesos at the minimum. Wala pa ho yung O&M cost doon.
Ako po si Mami Yet Robles, ang mami at babaeng lagalag. At ito ang aking balita, news, para sa kaalaman ng buong Pilipinas at buong mundo, North, East, West, South. Hanggang sa muli!
At pakialam, galaw-gaw, kung tawagin siya'y ganyan, kang karot, na trumpong